Thank you, Katie. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Diego, or UUFSD service. I am Chris Burns, and I'll be serving as your worship associate this morning. If you have your own chalice or candle at home, have it handy so we can all light our chalices together at the appropriate time. We begin our worship as a community of all ages, joined in singing together our gathering hymn, I've Got Peace Like a River. Words are on your screen.
Good morning, everybody. Let's sing together. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Yes, I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Thank you, Marshall. If you're visiting today, we're so glad you're here and hope that you'll enjoy your time with us this morning. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Diego is a community drawn together by 7 Unitarian Universalist principles. These are principles of our UU faith that we covenant together to affirm and live into being in our lives and in the world. Our 6th principle states, we believe in the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. At this challenging time, we come together to reaffirm our commitment to each other as one community and one world, recognizing that we are together no matter what. Welcome. We're glad you're all here. We are an active congregation, and there are many ways to keep informed. Newsletter, our website, and the weekly order of service announcements, and our quarterly magazine dialogue. If you're a visitor, we encourage you to sign up for our weekly online newsletter and emails by sending an email to office@uufsd.org and give our administrator Tracy your contact information. Although we're not physically together, our pastoral care committee is still here for you. If you're in need of pastoral care, please email pastoralcare@uufsd.org and provide your contact information. And if you're comfortable, state what your needs are. It'll help us to respond to you. pastoralcare@uufsd.org. I have two announcements for this week. Uh, First of all, the Fifth Principle Project, the group we used to know as Indivisible Patriots, and together with the Racial Justice Task Force, invite you to a postcard or letter writing meetup to support racial justice this Tuesday, September 22nd at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom. Event details are in the online newsletter and on the website calendar. To obtain the Zoom link, please RSVP to Karen Remus at REIMUS1, Remus1 at AOL.com by noon Tuesday. Okay? Second announcement is Camp de Benneville Pines is now at risk due to the El Dorado fire. The fire has reached the edge of the camp, but so far the firefighters have been able to protect all the structures. The fire, however, continues to burn in the surrounding area. It's got it surrounded on three sides. Camp was evacuated last week, of course, displacing our full-time camp staff. Several of them live on site and have
You lost your sound.
housing for camp staff. Anyone that could offer temporary housing in the Big Bear, Yucaipa area, or if you know somebody that might, please contact Chris Fowler, 858 344 0227. He's in the directory, Fowler, F-A-L-L-E-R, 858 344 0227. Thank you.
Buenos días. Bienvenidos a nuestro servicio de adoración virtual. Good morning. I am the Reverend Joe Green, your new settled minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Dieguito. I am grateful to be with you all this morning. Until we are able to meet in person, we are virtually worshiping together and are now at the beginning of a new congregational year. Greetings to you all. As Unitarian Universalists, we welcome all who may be curious about our faith. We welcome those here this morning for the very first time, or those who have been a faithful member of this community for many years. We welcome you if you believe in God, don't believe in a higher source, believe in humanist or secular leanings, come from other religions, or I lost my place. Or were raised Unitarian Universalists. We welcome you as people of color, white people, gay, lesbian, bisexual, or heterosexual, transgender or cisgender, non-gender, non-disabled, or people with disabilities. We may not offer a perfect welcome, but our hearts reside in our belief in Unitarian Universalism, and we strive daily to overcome those systemic biases that we swim in this country. We offer to our members and friends the opportunity to search for your highest self and are here to aid you in finding it, whatever that may mean to you. In this loving community, your certainties, doubts, fears, and trepidations are all welcomed. May you come to know deeply what those are and where your life's journey may lead you. I am grateful this morning that you are here, that you are curious and ever searching, and hopefully that in this community, you will find that deeper meaning you are searching for. Tomorrow is the United Nations International Day of Peace. On their website, it reads, the International Day of Peace, or Peace Day, is observed around the world each year on the 21st of September. Established in 1981 by unanimous United Nations resolution, Peace Day provides a globally shared date for all humanity to commit to peace above all differences and to contribute to building a culture of peace. I am sure their intentions were magnanimous and altruistic. I am sure that in 1981, it felt like so much could be accomplished even if they looked 40 years in the future. And lately, it seems that we have taken so many steps back in acquiring that peaceful state of mind we wish every being on this planet to experience. This is a difficult time. We've all been saying it. And yet, this could be the exactly perfect time to endorse this movement for peace, to create that world we wish to have that's in our minds and hearts. Even if it is only one of us, we know from past experience that one person can make a difference in this world. Exactly 1 year ago today, Greta Thunberg made a difference. I don't know if people have already forgotten, but she created a movement that encapsulated nearly every country on this planet and caused so many of us to stand up for planet Earth. And then as I was writing this, I learned Friday of the news of the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I could think of nothing else. So I read you this prayer this morning from Rabbi Arthur Waskow at the Shalom Center in Philadelphia as he lit the first Rosh Hashanah candles Friday evening. What are the candles we kindle here? The fires we light to begin the year. We, among all life forms, face the nightmare of a flood of fire, the heat and smoke that could consume all earth. We come to douse that outer, all-consuming fire. We must light again in our own hearts the inner fire of love and liberation that burned in the burning bush, the fire that did not destroy the bush it burned in. As that inner fire burned in the heart of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the fire that did not destroy but loved and liberated women, loved and liberated Black women and men denied the right to vote, sought to love and liberate us all. She became a great light of the American people, a great light of the Jewish people, calling forth the fire within us. Each of us and all of us are fire of love and liberation, for that love is as strong as death. Love's fire must never be extinguished, the fire in the heart of all creation. It is our task to make from inner fire not an all-consuming blaze, but these loving lights we kindle now, in which we see more clearly the rainbow covenant glowing in the many colored faces of all life. Thank you, Rabbi Waskow. And thank you, Reverend Dawn Fortune, for these photos as she traveled from New Jersey yesterday to Washington, D.C. to honor Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. May we remember the fire that lit up Ruth Bader Ginsburg and carry that fire with us to continue the work she so bravely accomplished while on this earth. May this be the new year where we are as brave as she. Shana Tova. May it be so. Blessed be. In past congregations I've been in, we have honored those First Nations who have held this land before we appropriated it. I will now give a land acknowledgement and light this candle for the Kumeyaay Nation on whose land we now occupy. You may say the words with me if you have the order of service where they are printed. On behalf of the UUFSD, I take a moment to acknowledge the land on which we stand today as the traditional home of the Kumeyaay people and of all tribes and bands within the Kumeyaay Nation. It holds to our principles to honor the history and work in the present and future with our Native neighbors. Amen.
The Unitarian Universalist Flaming Chalice represents our shared history, hope, and commitment to the principles and values of our faith that joins us together. Our chalice lighting words today come from the Oberlin UU Fellowship in Oberlin, Ohio. We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also to be welcoming to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. I invite everyone who wishes to join in lighting a chalice or a candle as a symbol of peace. You're invited to turn on your video, hold up your chalice to your camera, so we can light our lights together. Please join in singing our centering hymn, Spirit of Life, followed by reciting our covenant. The words to both will appear on your screen.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
May love be the spirit of this congregation. May the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our covenant.
Good morning. Today's story is called Earth at the Interplanetary Conference. Once about every 5,000 years or so, all the planets in our solar system get together for an interplanetary conference. They roast marshmallows in the warm glow of the sun, they gossip chisme about the other solar systems, and they thoroughly enjoy each other's company. This most recent meeting, though, however, was much more serious than usual. Earth was really upset. They used to be so cute and friendly, she said with a sigh. They used to be gentle. They used to thank me for everything they took, for the plants and animals they needed for food, for the rivers full of fish, for the gentle rains that watered their crops, for the great trees that they used to build their homes. They used to sing and dance and thank me, and sometimes I would sing with them. It was so much fun back then. I used to love to watch them. So clever those humans were, full of invention. I really couldn't wait to see what they were going to do next. Well, intoned Neptune in his eerie, deep voice. What's the problem then? It sounds absolutely delightful to me. Earth sighed deeply, and huge waves crashed against the shores of 1,000 beaches. Great forests bent and swayed in a sudden violent wind that swept across the continents. I said they used to be cute and friendly and polite. Now they just take. They tear me up looking for gold and oil, and they burn until my skies are like black and smelly. Sometimes I think I'll never stop sneezing or coughing. They eat all the animals, they bulldoze everything to make room for the cities, and you wouldn't believe how messy they are. Oh my God. They just throw incredible amounts of garbage and throw it in the oceans, leave it in heaps. They always want more. No matter how much they take, they're never satisfied. She stopped for breath, and a single tear fell down her tree. It splashed into the Indian Ocean, where it quickly turned into a hurricane. The worst part is that they don't sing to me anymore. They never ever say thank you, and I just don't know what to do. All the planets were really quiet, except for Venus. Ever the lover, she murmured, "There, there, Earth, it's okay." She held Earth, weeping, close to her. Mars, the mighty orange planet, spoke next. "Earth, as you know, I've had some experience in these matters. You may remember the trouble I was having with those little green creatures, used to live on me. They used to call themselves Martians. Yes, they did the same thing to me. Greedy little tentacles, grabbed everything in sight. I gave them several opportunities to straighten up, but they didn't listen. So I sucked up all the air, all water back inside myself, and I let the sun turn my skin into a giant burning desert. Those ungrateful Martians. All are gone now, and I say good riddance. Good riddance! Tough love, I call it. If you want my advice, shake them off like the fleas they are. Freeze them in an ice age, drown them in floods. You'll soon forget they were ever there." Some of the planets nodded, especially Saturn, who always seemed to be in a sour mood. The two smallest planets looked sad. Earth saw their distress and said, "Well, what do you think, little ones?" Mercury, who's much more shy than one would think, simply blushed. But little Pluto spoke up. "Earth, I am so sorry for your pain," she said softly. "The way they are treating you is awful. Look at me. I just float in space, a big block of ice. No one has ever sung to me. As I drift along through eternity, I dream someday that I will be able to share myself with others. I dream one day that I will be needed, that I will be able to feed creatures of my own and watch them grow and thrive. But it seems not meant to be, not for me. But so many creatures depend on you, Earth, even if they forget how they treat you and how to sing to you and how to thank you. Maybe they can learn. Maybe they just grow up. Maybe just be patient for a little longer, Earth, please." "Maybe Mars' solution is the best one," Earth said. "I can't wait forever for these foolish humans to start behaving themselves." "I don't think Brother Mars is as happy as he pretends," Pluto continued as Mars gruffly wiped away a big red tear. When other planets looked his way, Mars grumbled, "I'm not crying, I just got a little space dust in my eye." Earth asked Pluto, "Then what do you think I should do?" "Well, it might be time for you to sing to them," Pluto whispered. So the Earth began to sing as she had not sung for a very long time. It was a song of creation, of love, of promise, of warm earth, cool water, of fresh spring grass and deep forest. She sang of dolphins and mountains and people, and yes, she even sang of people. Despite their behavior, she still loved them dearly. The Earth sang, and nearly everything swayed, leaped, and sang with her. But most of the humans could not hear their song. None of them heard it, in fact, aside from a handful of children. When the Earth let her voice soar fully into her song, a few children in each nation stopped what they were doing. They heard the Earth song as if it was coming from someplace deep inside of their bodies. These children could hear the songs of the trees, the flowers, and the whales in the ocean, and suddenly they felt like singing too. They sang with strange smiles on their faces. Their mothers and fathers and teachers and friends said in their own native languages, "What on earth has gotten into you?" And in their own native languages, these children said things like, "Mom, I don't think we do a very good job at recycling. Hey, Dad, I need a ride to school. I don't need one anymore because I'm going to start riding my bike. We don't need to throw those food scraps in the yard. We can actually start a composting bin. Actually, for this birthday, instead of having people bring me presents, which I actually don't really need, hello privilege, let's ask for donations to a charity to help clean up the environment." The mothers and fathers and teachers and friends asked, "What's bringing this all on?" And the children, still humming them to themselves, really just didn't know. "I just remembered something really important," they answered. Earth smiled, and everyone in the world suddenly felt a warm breeze, gentle as mothers' hands, lifting their hair and touching their faces. My question to all of us is, what more can we do to be taking care of Earth?
Thank you, Allison. I love that story. We now enter into the traditional element in this service, a time for us to share our joys, sorrows, concerns, and transitions. This morning, we will take a couple of minutes to allow for all of you to share a significant event that may have happened to you this week, a joy, a sorrow, a concern, or a transition. We will have music in the background to allow for those who wish to write in the chat box. For all others, it will be a time of reflection where you can contemplate this last week and where you may discover you may want to share something with the congregation. After the music ends, I will read those writings from the chat box, and Chris will drop a stone into water for each writing. Let us now enter into a time of reflection and writing. And our first concern or sorrow is from Ron DeMuth. Please share compassion with our dear friends Ray and Carla Testa of Juniper Hills, east of the San Gabriel Mountains. The Bobcat fire forced them to evacuate to separate families' homes. We will keep them in our prayers. Great job, Allison, from Laura. Marshall celebrated Rosh Hashanah. Happy New Year to all. Barbara Blomgren says, good morning all. The video above the fold in the online New York Times showing the vigil in tribute to Ruth Bader Ginsburg is extremely moving. Laura again, Lashana Tova, wishing us all an improved new year. This is my prayer. From Louise Lynn Garrett, my daughter, Linda, husband Nate, and kids, Ethan and Layla, made it to Langley, Virginia safely for his new post. That's wonderful. Kathy Fowler has a celebration of life for my dad. Thanks, Joe, for all your help in having it be a meaningful service. From Linda and Ted to everyone, Allison ended with, how else can we help the earth? From Allison, despite all of the sadness and fear that have encapsulated the past 2 days, I am so grateful for Blake, a senior, doing his Eagle Scout project at the fellowship this moment. He is putting up directional signs, and I couldn't be more proud. From Catherine to everyone, recovering from rotator cuff repair surgery, grateful for all the healthcare workers, and we wish you a speedy recovery. From Susan Hammonds, my friend is having brain surgery Monday morning, and I'm afraid for him. We will keep him in our thoughts and prayers. And from Linda and Ted, encourage people to vote, especially in the swing states. And I have a stone that Chris can drop to continue to mourn with the families of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Rashard Brooks, and Jacob Blake, and all the people of color who are continuing to die in circumstances where white people do not. And lastly, may we drop one last stone for all the joys, sorrows, concerns, and transitions that may not have been expressed today, that may not even be held in this community, but are held in our hearts. Blessed be. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, God of many names or none, we are grateful this morning to be gathering together, to be able to share our joys and sorrows and concerns and transitions with each other as they occur. We are so grateful for all the people who are helping this congregation, for all the building and grounds folks who are keeping it so pretty right now, even though we can't be there, for Blake being able to go up and put signs up, which will be so helpful. And we pray for those who are experiencing loss, those who are having surgery that could be dangerous, those who have been traveling long distances and hopefully have made it there safely. We keep all of these folks in our hearts, and we continue to pray for all of the people who may be affected by the fires right now, and our own Camp de Benneville, the hurricanes on the East Coast, and the many people affected by the COVID-19 virus. Let us keep them in our hearts and love. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe. And now let us enter into a time of silence for meditation, reflection, or prayer. First, by singing our chant, Meditation on Breathing. And a time of silence will then follow with the sound until the sound of the bell.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
This week I have felt bombarded by so much. When I began crafting this service, my mind was solely on focusing on the International Day of Peace tomorrow. I wanted to talk about how we can create peace in this world, no matter who we are or what position we do or do not hold. And then one of my sheroes died. Friday, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. I could think of nothing else. I could only grieve and fear the future without her. She was the voice for women when we did not have a voice. She was the voice for civil rights for people of color when they did not have a voice. Everywhere I looked, she was there. On network news, on cable news, in my email, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Her regal face was everywhere. And I thought to myself, who more than Ruth represented the face of peace? She was the epitome of fair-mindedness and crossing the aisle. One of her best friends was Justice Antonin Scalia, who we all knew as a staunch conservative and was a dear friend to her, so much so they even took vacations together. What a role model to have. She stood up for her beliefs without shutting down those she disagreed with. That is the model of our 7 principles, is it not? One that I wish to aspire to, even when it's so difficult to aspire to that. Sometimes I want to rant and rave against those folks I think are in the wrong, who I vehemently disagree with, who I just want to make it easy on myself and just plain hate them. That's easier, isn't it? To just hate someone. One doesn't have to get to know them. One doesn't have to listen to them. One doesn't have to reconsider our own beliefs to possibly make room for some of theirs. We can just dismiss them, period. That's very easy to do. And it doesn't take any reflection on our part. It doesn't take any work. We don't have to research. We don't have to consider or listen. We can just shut out and continue with our own convictions. And that seems to be what our country as a whole has done. We have not been following Ruth Bader Ginsburg's modeling. And I bet if we did, we'd have more peace. When the International Day of Peace was created 21 years ago, the United Nations based it on a resolution that was adopted by the General Assembly called the Program of Action on a Culture of Peace. This 5-page document includes creating a culture of peace internationally, nationally, and regionally, and includes creating a culture of nonviolence for the children of the world. That really struck me. When have we ever created anything to protect the children of the world from violence? We certainly have not done that in the United States, or we would have assault weapons banned, possibly even guns banned. We would promote mental health and have services readily available for those who needed them. We would really be protecting children. But I digress. That's a whole other sermon for me about how we say we treat children in America and how we really treat them. The resolution goes on to call for a strengthening of effort to promote peace, make contributions for the promotion of peace, create partnerships, foster peace through education, involve children so as to instill in them the values and goals of a culture of peace. They created a decade of peace. I don't know how that worked. It would have been a decade ago already, but they indeed created efforts in which to instill the importance of peace and to strengthen policies for peace worldwide. It was a good effort. I need to quell my pessimism that it has worked. Chris read our sixth principle earlier, which I will repeat. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. I think that was what the UN resolution was meant to accomplish. On the second day of Rosh Hashanah, Jews around the world are looking to a new year, looking at what they accomplished, looking back on what charity they gave and what justice they fought for, culminating with Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. In all of our principles, we do not look to see where we went wrong and how we can make amends. I find that interesting. I believe in the Jewish tradition there is a way to forgive and be forgiven, and we don't seem to have that in Unitarian Universalism. For as I spoke about last week, as human beings, we are certain at some times in our life to break those covenants we have sworn to uphold. We don't have a way, let alone set aside a specific day of the year, to atone for those mistakes or broken promises we have made. In the story that Allison read, the planets discussed and came to an agreement, and there was a kind of peace at the end. It was us humans that broke our promise to planet Earth, and we have yet today to atone for that. Earth is striking back at us. Fires here on the West Coast and last year in Australia are decimating our forests. Hurricanes on the East Coast are flooding and destroying homes and habitats. Our policies do not reflect our principles, nor do they reflect American beliefs. This administration is rolling back all the progress we have made in addressing climate change. It is time to act. Mother Earth will not change course unless we do. We need to make a promise to her. We need to redouble our efforts to reduce the damage we are doing to our planet. For not only will we suffer the consequences, but so will all other living beings on this planet. Maybe not the roaches and mosquitoes, they seem to live through everything. Have we ever made a promise to our Earth? The First Nations here in our country did. They only took what they needed from the Earth and they replaced it when they could. There was not any unnecessary killing, no waste of resources. They lived in harmony, might be what you call peace with the Earth. We have never done that. We held up the doctrine of discovery, eminent domain, and other policies to take what we wanted, whether we needed it or not. Allison's story for sharing of all ages may have felt harsh in the beginning, but it was the truth. We must reflect on the truth of what we have done and make reparations or amends where it is needed. We must stop breaking our promises. And I believe this starts with us individually and personally. Many years ago, I was explaining to someone my own personal policy of truth. I refused to take home pens or paper from work because that felt too easy. I didn't want to justify it and say it was an accident or feel like I was entitled to it. Some of my friends felt that they were not being compensated enough, so if they padded their paychecks by taking office supplies home, they felt they were justified. If I could take home office supplies from work and not feel guilty about it, I could then take home other things, larger items or more expensive items. We can always rationalize something that we wish will happen, whether we admit that it is honest or not. I could then feel comfortable stealing, then maybe comfortable lying, then who knows what. Throwing litter out of a car window is nothing, some people think. But then maybe the next time it's dumping waste and polluting a whole body of water or vandalizing property. If we don't do the small things, we won't do the big things. We must be honest with ourselves every minute, every hour, every day. I have been studying Zen meditation using a book entitled Training in Compassion, Zen Teachings on the Practice of Lojong by Norman Fisher. In it, he speaks of slogans that he uses to remind himself of practices he needs to sustain. One he calls train wholeheartedly, openly, and constantly. He continues to explain. Train wholeheartedly means with your full spirit, with all of your joy and all of your sorrow and all of your passion, leaving nothing out. Train openly means without hiding or favoring anything. Recalling that there's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, nothing you need to hide, that everything in you can be brought forth at the proper time, and all of it is not only worthwhile, it is all a necessary part of the picture. Train constantly means all the time, awake or asleep, in an energetic or a lethargic mood, when resting or having fun or being in a pickle. No matter what is going on, it is all in the service of mind training. I take his view as also meaning a way to live life. To live life wholeheartedly will only reap you the best that life has to offer. And in doing that, he states, you must live openly without hiding or favoring anything. If we are to create peace in this world, we need to dig more deeply, reflect more honestly and thoughtfully, and not censor ourselves from that which we don't wish to deal with. That is within ourselves. I know, much easier said than done, but how can we create peace outside of ourselves if we cannot create peace inside of ourselves? I know for me, when I am angry or disgruntled or depressed inside, I cannot outside reflect that I am in a peaceful or happy state. No matter how much I try, that energy that is filling me up at the time will come out. Even if people can't tell, they will feel that something is off. I believe it is that way for us all. We cannot reflect out what is not present within. I will repeat. We cannot reflect out what is not present within. These days, there is so much hateful rhetoric being debated about. Tempers are flailing, real fear surrounding the COVID-19 virus, the fires and hurricanes seemingly consuming us, not to mention normal day-to-day wear and tear on our psyches. There is much out there encouraging disharmony and turmoil. So it is up to us to counteract all that hate and fear and mayhem that is roiling around us. We must take extra strength that is within ourselves to respond to what is going on in the world and make ourselves as whole as we can. I have to take a pause here. I have low battery, so I've got to run and get my extension cord. I'm sorry, I'll be right back. Things that don't happen live in person. I will repeat my last sentence. We must take extra strength that is within ourselves to respond to what is going on in the world and make ourselves as whole as we can. And this is not something we need to do alone. In fact, we shouldn't do alone. Our fates are tied, says Louisa Tisch. We have this strange notion on this planet that our fates are not tied. If it were not so, we would not be here together. It's that simple. Louisa Tisch, an author and teacher, lives in Oakland, California. She is known as a dancer, an activist, and a Yoruba priestess. And her words are simple and so true. We are all in this together. And the more we fight, the more we attack, the more we justify or judge others who don't agree with us, the farther away peace will feel. I don't know how Justice Ginsburg did it, how she was such close friends with Justice Scalia and also Justice Roberts, who she fervently disagreed with many, many times. She modeled perfectly a way to separate the person from the belief. We need to use her as our role model to get through this time of such uncertainty and fear and anger. Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. So said Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She knew how to caress an idea and use the language of purpose and constitutionality to convey her attention. She truly was a woman of our time that filled a void that will be sorely empty. Coupled with another one of my sheroes, Anne Frank stated, "How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world." She too was a gift to the world that was sorely needed. Wise beyond her years, she never got to fully live, but left us jewels of insights that we carry with us today. On this second day of Rosh Hashanah, let us become the Anne Franks, the Ruth Bader Ginsburgs, the Greta Thunbergs that this world needs so desperately right now. That is how we will create peace. That is one way to fulfill those efforts that the United Nations set in motion 21 years ago. We can do it individually. We can do it as a group, but we must do it. It is time. The earth needs us. Our country needs us. We need each other. In spite of this pandemic, we can create formidable peace right now. We must start with ourselves. Again, we cannot reflect out what is not present within. Let us work together to create that peace within us that will radiate out to all others. I have faith we can do this. We just need to promise. May it be so. Blessed be.
Each Sunday, we collect a financial offering to sustain the work of our fellowship. If you wish to offer your contribution during our service day or afterwards, please go to the UUFSD website and click on the Giving tab as shown on the slide. We will show the slide again at the end of the service, so you'll have an additional time to offer your generosity to our fellowship. Thank you. As we move towards the close of this worship service, let us invoke the spirit, insights, and ideals of this morning's service by singing the closing hymn, number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. The words are on your screen.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well, may I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Please join with me now in extinguishing our chalices and reciting the words shown on your screens. No, maybe you know them. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
There is a Dakota proverb, "We will be known forever by the tracks we leave." Dear beloved community, may you leave deep tracks of harmony and peace wherever you walk. This week, go out and create peace somewhere, somehow. I know that there are ways that we haven't even thought of before. May it be so. Go in peace.
We invite you to listen to our postlude, after which the chat function will be turned back on while the breakout rooms are being organized for us to join for a virtual coffee hour and connections. The offering slide will also be shown again after the postlude.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of our virtual coffee hour. Before we get started, as was mentioned, I'm going to once again share the information for the sharing of generosity, in case for those of you who might have missed it. So there's a text to give option there, 844-967-2048. There's a PayPal option, paypal@uufsd.org. And also on the online Give Online button at uufsd.org as well. So please take advantage of that. In addition, I'm also going to share. Oh, the chat function is now open, by the way. I'm also going to share the meeting address for the UU The Vote meeting, which is again happening at 11:45 today. You're welcome to join in on that meeting. It's a different address at this meeting, so you'll need to take advantage of that link. So please do so. Great. So now, without further ado, I'm going to organize the breakout rooms. And you can also unmute yourself should you want to. Breakout rooms are created and are now open. Bon voyage.